There's a moment in every investor's life that changes everything. It doesn't happen on a specific date. There's no alert on your phone, no notification from your brokerage. But once you see it, you can never unsee it. It's the moment your money starts working harder than you do. Most people think building wealth is a straight line. You save a little, invest a little, and it grows slowly. But that's a lie. That is the compounding trap. Wealth doesn't grow in a line. It grows in a curve. And along that curve, there are 3 specific tipping points where your net worth goes from crawling to flat-out sprinting. If you don't understand the pattern, you'll likely quit right before the explosion happens. I want you to picture 2 apartments. Same city, same neighborhood, similar rent. The first belongs to someone earning $95,000 a year. Walk inside, and you'll find a 75-inch television and a leather sectional that cost $4,000. The kitchen is full of appliances, many still in their boxes, and the closets are overflowing with clothes, with tags still attached. This person checks their bank account with a knot in their stomach. They're 2 missed paychecks away from a total crisis. The second apartment belongs to someone earning $52,000 a year. Inside, there is space, a modest couch, a kitchen with only the tools that actually get used. This person checks their bank account with calm confidence. They have 18 months of expenses saved and invest 20% of every paycheck. Same neighborhood. The person earning half as much has nearly 10 times the financial security. This isn't a story about income. It's about the hidden relationship between stuff and money that most people never understand. The first person isn't bad with money. They just gradually accumulated a lifestyle that requires every dollar they earn to maintain. They are a high-status tenant in their own life. They fell for the first layer of the trap, ignoring the second cost. You see, everything you own costs money twice. The first cost is the purchase price. The second cost, the one that kills your wealth, includes storage, maintenance, mental energy, and opportunity cost. That treadmill in your spare room? It takes up about 20 square feet. In a city, that space costs roughly $30 to $50 per square foot annually. You are paying $600 to $1,000 a year in implicit rent just to store equipment that usually just hangs laundry. A $30,000 boat costs about $3,000 a year just to own, even if it never touches the water. Your stuff is literally stressing you out in ways you can't perceive. Researchers found that visual clutter spikes cortisol levels and shreds the brain's ability to focus. But the real weight is the opportunity cost. Every dollar locked in a possession is a dollar not invested. That $15,000 home gym setup could have been $15,000 in index funds, growing to $138,000 or more over 30 years. You didn't just buy a gym. You bought a gym instead of future financial freedom. Minimalists aren't avoiding nice things because they're cheap. They've just done the math and realized most things aren't worth the loss of their sovereignty. If the math feels brutal, it's because it is. This brings us to the second layer of the trap, the agony of the start. I think about a guy named Harry. He stayed consistent for 287 days before he decided compounding was a lie. His screen barely moved. It felt like pouring water into sand. Most people quit here. They quit not because they're lazy, but because the scoreboard is lying to them. Your brain is wired for a straight line. Work equals reward. But compounding is a delayed explosion. Harry survived because he stopped looking for growth and started looking for mass. He looked at his wealth accumulation through the 8-4-3 rule. The first phase of this rule is the longest. The first 8 years aren't about getting rich. They are about getting unbreakable. This is the grind phase. Right now, the median household income in the U.S. is about $83,000 $700. For most people, nearly every dollar of their net worth growth comes from their paycheck. Their investments aren't doing much yet, and that's not because they picked the wrong funds. It's because they haven't hit tipping point number 1. When your investment returns exceed your annual contributions. Here's the math. If you save $10,000 a year and your portfolio returns 10%, you hit that tipping point when your portfolio reaches $100,000. A 10% gain on $100,000 is $10,000, the same amount you put in all year long. Charlie Munger said the first $100,000 is a nightmare, but you have to do it. Going from $0 to $100,000 might take 7 to 10 years, but going from $100,000 to $200,000 shrinks to 5 years. Once your returns match what you contribute, every new dollar you invest gets amplified. Your money starts earning its own money. This is where the curve finally begins to bend, but the world will try to pull you back. The system is designed to harvest your capital before it hits the acceleration zone. It uses upgrades as a weapon. The average American replaces their phone every 2 to 3 years, while the old one works perfectly. Over 30 years, that cycle alone costs up to $50,000. Across all categories, cars, furniture, tech, the lifetime waste exceeds $200,000. Minimalists escape this by defining functional clearly. An item is functional until it genuinely fails. Boredom is not failure. The neighbor buying something shinier is not failure. Harry understood this. He didn't rely on willpower. Willpower fails when you're tired, stressed, or emotional. He designed his environment for ease. He removed his saved credit cards. He deleted shopping apps. He implemented a 24-hour waiting rule for every non-essential purchase. That rule alone kills 70% of impulse buys. Most desires fade within 2 days. He made saving automatic, so the money was gone before he ever saw it. He treated savings like a bill he had to pay, not an afterthought. The third layer of the trap is the high-status tenancy cycle. High earners often feel just as stressed as those making much less because their expectations expand alongside their income. They never defined what enough looks like, so they keep moving the goalpost. They upgrade the house, then the car, then the hobbies. They earn $150,000 but spend $145,000. They have zero optionality. They are chained to their income requirement. True wealth isn't accumulation, it's optionality. Can you leave a job that's destroying you? Can you take 6 months to handle a family emergency? Can you start a business without a guaranteed check? These options are only available to those who build margin. The person earning $80,000 who spends $45,000 has more power than the CEO who spends everything. Every purchase is a trade. You are trading future freedom for present consumption. The question isn't whether you can afford the monthly payment. The question is whether it's worth a piece of your freedom. Once you push through the first 8 years of the 8-4-3 rule, you enter the second phase, years 9 through 12. This leads to tipping point number 2, when your investment returns match your salary. This is the moment that changes your psychology forever. When your portfolio generates the same amount of growth in a year as your entire salary, something clicks. You stop asking, how do I earn more? And start asking, why am I still trading all my time for money? If you earn the median income and your portfolio averages a 10% return, you hit this at roughly $837,000. Your money has outrun your salary. And then, if you stay in the game, you reach the third phase, years 13 through 15. This is tipping point number 3, financial independence. This is the point where your portfolio can cover all your living expenses indefinitely. Using the 4% rule, If you spend $60,000 a year, you need $1.5 million. It sounds like an impossible mountain, but here's the secret. Most of the distance between where you are and that number is covered by the tipping points themselves. Once your returns outpace your contributions and match your salary, the compounding does the heavy lifting for you. The problem is that most people reset their curve. They panic in a bad year, they sell, they stop contributing, and they kill the acceleration right before it hits. Or they succumb to the ecosystem cost. They buy a boat and forget it requires a trailer, storage, and maintenance. One purchase cascades into a dozen others. They build a museum of abandoned enthusiasm in their garage. Expensive gear for hobbies they tried twice and quit. Minimalists avoid this by testing their fantasies. They rent or borrow before they buy. They want to try woodworking? They use a makerspace instead of buying tools that will collect dust. They discover if their enthusiasm is genuine before they commit their capital. They use the replacement test. They walk through their home and ask, if this item disappeared today, would I spend my hard-earned money to replace it? For most of what we own, the answer is no. Those items exist through inertia, not intention. They are financial anchors, dragging you down. When you ruthlessly eliminate what fails that test, you create mental space. Rooms feel larger. Decisions feel simpler. You stop the visibility game and start the compounding game. You realize that the relationship between stuff and money is bidirectional. Owning less creates more money, but having more money also makes owning less feel natural. When your bank account is robust, the psychological need to prove success through possessions dissolves. You don't need the stuff to feel successful because your bank account already tells you the story you want to hear. This creates a virtuous cycle. Spending less leads to saving more. Saving more creates security. Security reduces the emotional drive to spend. The opposite cycle is a death spiral. Spending everything creates insecurity, which drives more spending for temporary emotional relief. High earners trapped in that cycle build nothing. Modest earners in the virtuous cycle build everything. The choice between these two cycles determines your financial trajectory more than your income ever could. It doesn't matter if you're starting with $1,000 or $100,000. The math doesn't care about your starting point. It cares about your consistency and your time. Every dollar you invest today is a seed. At first, you won't see much. You'll look at your portfolio and wonder if it matters, but you are building the base of that curve. Here's your audit for tonight. Walk through your home. Find 10 items that fail the displacement test. Things you wouldn't buy again if they vanished. Sell them. Donate them. Throw them away. Notice how it feels. That lightness is the beginning of your freedom. Then look at your portfolio. Figure out your annual contribution. Divide your portfolio value by that number. If the result is under 10, you're in the grind. Keep going. If it's between 10 and 25, you're in the acceleration zone. If it's over 25, you are closer to sovereignty than you think. The tipping points are real. The math is on your side. The only question is whether you'll stay in the game long enough to reach them. Sarah is trapped in a cycle of consumption that requires her to work harder just to stay in place. Marcus is building optionality. He's building a life based on what matters to him, not on financial necessity. The choice is yours. Do you want to own your possessions, or do you want your possessions to own you? The mathematics are clear. The freedom is real. Start today. Protect the streak. Stay in the game long enough to win. Let's see what else is possible. What else is